Good evening, and thanks for keeping a date with us once again on the program Transforming Agriculture in Nigeria. A program that puts a searchlight on the potentials of the Nigeria agricultural sector and efforts of government and other relevant stakeholders to make agriculture a mainstay of the nation's economy in order to ensure food security in Nigeria. I'm your regular host, Ibrahim Yusuf. There is a popular saying that a man who farms the way his forefathers did can never feed himself and his family in modern society. This is because unimproved variety of crops and old systems of farming cannot produce the quality and quantity of food to meet the demand for food across the globe in this era of population explosion. And so, improved varieties and mechanization open up the way to modern system of farming. In this episode, we are focusing on the impact of IAR research activities on legume crops and agricultural mechanization in Nigeria. But as usual, let's take the news from the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. Keep watching. In our diary tonight, Ministry holds first National Animal Feed Security Summit. Also in the news, Nigeria restates commitment to food security. In a bid to enhance animal feeds production in the country, the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development recently held the first National Animal Feed Security Summit in Abuja with the theme Developing a Roadmap for the Animal Feed Security in Nigeria. The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Muhammad Mahmoud Abubakar, while delivering a keynote address at the summit, expressed optimism that developing a clear-cut roadmap for the animal feed subsector of the livestock value chain will provide direction for the animal feed security in Nigeria. Mahmoud stated that animal feed account for 70% of the costs of animal production. Hence, the ministry will give important consideration to feed production in Nigeria. He was represented by the Permanent Secretary, Ernest Afolabi Umahihe.
Government will also step up on its development plan to provide incentives to feed millers and agribusiness companies to locate in rural areas where feed ingredients are largely available.
The summit attracted stakeholders both from the private and public sectors who commended the initiative and suggested ways Nigeria can achieve sustainable animal feed production. President Muhammadu Buhari has restated the commitment of the federal government to attaining food security. The president was speaking at the Food Systems Summit, which was part of the high-level meetings of the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly, which held in New York. President Buhari reaffirmed that Nigeria is committed to investing in food security and nutrition knowledge dissemination, skills development, and information management systems to enhance agricultural productivity. The effort is also aimed at building sustainable, responsive and inclusive food security systems and productivity of smallholder farmers, as well as empowering women and youth for greater access to food production. He also said Nigeria will focus on strengthening climate mitigation strategies, amongst other issues that will reduce the many stresses and shocks to Nigeria's food security systems. While reiterating that Nigeria will work to transform her food systems and achieve the Sustainable Development Goals and the 2030 Agenda, President Buhari declared support for emerging coalitions of actions and sustainable food systems with member states. The world is changing. The population is increasing by the day, and the demand for food is similarly increasing. The Institute for Agricultural Research has made a lot of technologies in legumes as well as equipment that can make crops more productive while reducing hard labor in agriculture. In the light of this, our next segment, Records of the FDA, will unfold some technologies developed by the IAR towards the attainment of this objective. Keep watching.
Legume crops are seeds, fruits or plants that are known for their high protein, carbohydrate and fat content. Leguminous crops include but not limited to beans, groundnut and soya beans. The Institute for Agricultural Research has the mandate to research into legume and oilseed crops. In this regard, the Institute has developed different varieties that are much better than the unimproved ones.
Our varieties are actually developed for specific qualities which we call outstanding characteristics. We have varieties that are early maturing, and if you look at the advantages of these kind of varieties, that they tend to avoid problems like drought occurrence, because when there is long duration of crop, if crop has a long duration in the field, in the event of drought, they tend to miss their life cycle being completed under good conditions. So we have varieties that have been developed specifically to be drought tolerance, meaning in the absence of short period of rain, they are still able to cope and maintain their system till when the moisture is resumed. We have varieties that are tolerant to diseases and pests. We have varieties that are high yielding compared to what farmers are used to planting. So these are tremendous advantages over what farmers are used to.
Cowpea, also known as beans, is one of the legume crops in which the IAR has developed about 20 varieties. Sampi 20 variety, which is the most recent variety developed by the Institute, is a major breakthrough not only for Nigeria but is also one of its kind in the whole of the African continent.
One of the major problems of cowpea production in the field is insect attack. We have this notorious insect that bores into the pods when the pods are forming. What I mean by boring is that it makes holes into the pods, and because of that your yield is compromised. From maybe where you're expecting, let's say 1.5 tons, you may end up having nothing. It can be so devastating. So this particular variety is improved, genetically modified, such that instead of the normal spray regime of 7, in some cases some farmers can spray up to 10 times for them to get their cowpea. In this case, the maximum that we have recorded is not more than 2 spray regimes, and you have your cowpea. So this is not only an achievement for the Institute, not only an achievement for the country, but I can say for the entire West African region.
Aside genetic improvement of these crops, the Institute also carries out soil fertility tests to make recommendations to farmers that want to grow these crops.
Using this machine, the machine can now be able to tell you what is it your soil, is it fertile, by reading the concentration of those elements that are essential and non-essential, and at the same time toxic elements like all these nickel, lead, cadmium, chromium. You know, they're all heavy metals, and you know, when you take it directly or after maybe you take a plant samples that contain this now, it will be a toxic to your body. So you'll be able to know what is the concentration in it, in that soil, either soil or plant samples.
Understanding the agronomical practices of legume crops that can boost the productivity of these crops is another aspect that IAR has made significant research. Be it in land preparation, cultivation, or fertilizer application. Fertilizer application requires getting the right source of fertilizer. Fertilizer is better applied during the vegetative stage of the crops, especially within 2 weeks after planting. Method of fertilizer application is also very important to know.
There is also the placement method. How do you place it? Farmers around here, we see them, because of saving time, I don't know, maybe saving time is one of them, and saving costs maybe another one. You see the farmers spreading the fertilizers, like spreading it on the field. If it's a rice field or so, they're spreading it. And even when the crop is even like 2 weeks, they don't even do it. They just spread it. So, but in our own case, we advise farmers, we have developed technologies to place the fertilizer by the side of the crop, which has been adopted. As the Research Institute, we know that part of the fertilizer you think you have applied has been lost by just placing it on the surface. So we also advocate for deeper placement. That way you make a hole by the side of the crop and put it inside.
For IAR, research is a continuous thing. Aside the earlier varieties of legume crops developed by IAR, a visit to the breeding nursery farm of the Institute shows research effort to manipulate the genes of the cowpea variety.
So usually what we do at the beginning, you take flower from this and then you put it on the female organ of this. Then it will produce a seed which we call F1 generation. It has become a new progeny that was developed through human manipulation.
Research does not stop at genetic improvement and farming systems of the crops. It also entails good storage systems. Understanding the preservation method of storing legume crops is also important for farmers and others in the value chain and the nation as a whole. Farmers who use chemical methods of storage of grains must stop or strictly observe the instruction on the use of such chemicals to ensure safety for human consumption.
The problem of having a contaminated produce starts from the farm. Then after that, now after harvesting, then the farmer now comes home after the harvesting, and then he now stores his grain probably in a bag or any way he's keeping it, or a silo, but then he now puts a lot of pesticide too in the storage so as to keep away pests. Fine, you see a crop very clean, but the consequences is that sometimes these chemicals have a kind of lifespan. You can say don't consume after 6 months or after even 1 year. But because the farmer is eager to sell his produce, maybe at the time the market is booming, he brings out the produce and sells it. And already the chemicals that he uses has that instruction that don't use this product until after this period of time. And then you have this kind of poisoning. And that is why there was a project in collaboration with IITA here. I think it was a USAID funded project on the use of, on best practices of cowpea production along the value chain.
Researchers have recommended the safest way of storing legume and other related crops.
So for cowpea specifically, we have a triple bagging technology, whereby a single bag has 2 layers of polythene, and then when it is sealed, it's completely absent. There's absence of oxygen in the container, in the bag, and then it protects the crop without using a single chemical to do it.
The agricultural sector holds a lot of promises for anyone that ventures into it. But a lot of people shy away from it because of the tedious nature of agriculture. The Institute for Agricultural Research has developed a lot of problem-solving technologies. This is the Agri-Mechanization Research Program of IAR. Here, technologists are in the business of fabricating different tools and equipment for Nigerian farmers.
The fabrication unit, all the prototype you've seen outside, this is where we made them. So that's why we call it fabrication unit.
Here in my own section machines, only the shafts and some of the bearings and other things, I work on them. Then we couple them together. That means both the two units are important. Each one will work on its own and then handle it to the other one. Then while we couple it together, then we can now test the machine to see how functional it is.
We took a tour of the showroom of the Agricultural Mechanization Research Program of the Institute to see how the machines fabricated by these Nigerian technologists function. Here in this showroom, the Institute has an array of machines which include maize thresher, groundnut thresher, multi-crop thresher for soybeans and sorghum, oil extractor machine, among others.
So we have an array of prototypes which mark our breakthroughs. For instance, in the on-farm activities, we have some tillage equipment that are either manually operated or machine assisted. We also have planters that are also used for that purpose. That's either manual activity or you now motorize it. We also have some post-harvest equipments, and actually 1 or 2 harvesting equipments, and then we have post-harvest equipments, which is generally drying to storage moisture content that will now allow it to be processed. And then we have threshers. We also have things like decorticator for things like groundnut.
With IAR technologies, farmers can easily plant their crops with a planter developed by IAR. It has also reduced the stress farmers go through to manually operate the herbicide sprayer on the farms.
This machine you are seeing is called a hand-push wheel-driven boom sprayer. It is a multi-purpose sprayer. You can apply herbicide, insecticide and fungicide with it by changing the nozzle.
The success story of the IAR cannot be complete without the impact of the faithful partners who have contributed in one way or the other to these success stories. In our next segment, Partnership for Development, we're focusing on the collaboration between IAR and other relevant stakeholders in making the research findings a reality.
The Institute for Agricultural Research Zaria has a lot of professionals from different disciplines such as breeders, pathologists or agronomists. This, however, does not make the Institute an island unto itself. It collaborates with other institutes and shares the success story together.
So we collaborate within and also outside, because most of our varieties are released with collaborative scientists, either the IITA, which is International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, or other research institute in the country. But for legumes and oilseeds, we collaborate a lot with scientists within the country and outside the country. And some of the institutions who collaborate with universities that are around here and also research institutes. We have like the National Cereal Research Institute at Badegi. They work on both legumes and cereals. We have Lecture Research Institute in Maiduguri. We have University of Agriculture in Makodi. We have International Crop Research for Semi-Arid Tropics, IC-Research in Kano, and also IIT in Kano. So we don't develop our packages alone, but with input from other scientists and other institutions.
Nigeria's misfortune in agriculture is traceable to the oil boom in Nigeria in the 70s, which led to the relegation of agriculture. But thanks to researchers whose activities have been able to change the fortunes of agriculture by making it possible for oil crops to have the potential of boosting the nation's economy with revenues beyond that of petroleum.
The oil crops are something that we can actually sustain our economy on. If you look at groundnuts, a liter of PMS petrol goes for like 160 something naira. But if you look at a liter of groundnuts, you talk about how much, maybe about 800 naira. So we can actually focus on this, and it's even more valuable than the petrol we have as a main resource for our economy.
To actualize the dream of making agriculture more productive in Nigeria than petroleum, there is urgent need for collaboration with the private sector to use the technologies developed by IAR and even challenge the research institutes to do more in meeting their demands.
Very important also is that we have collaboration with the private sector. This is also something that we cherish so much, because the private sector in Nigeria, unfortunately, don't seem to have very good collaboration with the research institutes, such that you see so many technologies being imported. Whereas if there is good collaboration, the private sector can ask the research institutes, can you develop this for me?
At the mention of mechanization, every attention goes to large-scale farmers, but for the researchers, mechanization is targeted at both the big and the smallholder farmers.
My advice to them is, while we cannot ignore the large-scale farmers, let us concentrate more on medium and small-scale farmers, because as at now, and for a very long time to come in the future, these are the people that are feeding us, and they are the people that will continue feeding us.
Every good work done attracts good testimonies and commendations. The crop variety of the Institute for Agricultural Research speaks for itself. In our next segment, Farmers Speak, let us take the testimony of a farmer who has been using improved variety of soybeans developed by IAR.
When we farm a hectare, we then used to we used to get maybe less than 10 bags, at times more 6 bags, because we used to cost. There are many that are avoiding, farming soybeans because of they cannot get enough of grain. But after they are coming, they brought good seed from the institution, where we have tested and then trust it. Then we say, okay, we realize that in a hectare, we can get from 25 to 40 bags.
Sorghum, also known as guinea corn, India millet or great millet, is a cereal grain that is small, round and mostly white or yellow. Sorghum has different varieties that are native to Africa, while others are native to Australia, India and other Southeast Asian countries. Sorghum is used for food for humans, cattle feed and poultry feed. Its syrup is used as a sweetener. It is also used for beverages and natural fuel source. Sorghum is a significant source of many vitamins, minerals and fiber. Half a cup of sorghum contains 316 calories, 10 grams of protein, 3 grams of fat, 69 grams of carbohydrate, 6 grams of fiber, vitamin B1, vitamin B2, vitamin B5, vitamin B6 among others. Because of its reach in vitamins and other nutrients, it plays an essential role in metabolism, neural development, skin and hair health. Due to presence of fiber, it stabilizes blood sugar level, aids weight management, among other health benefits. Sorghum is widely produced around the world. It is the 5th most important cereal crop in the world, and its global annual production stands around 59.34 million tons in 2018. In 2019-2020, the United States was the largest producer of sorghum worldwide, producing about 9 million metric tons of sorghum. That year, Nigeria produced about 6.57 million metric tons of sorghum, making it the 2nd largest producer. In 2021, the production of sorghum in Nigeria was estimated at 7 million metric tons. Sorghum can grow in most parts of Nigeria because it is tolerant to drought, heat, and various soil conditions. The Institute for Agricultural Research is leading research in sorghum, and a lot of improved varieties have been developed by the Institute. Sorghum farming is lucrative, and Nigerian farmers and whoever that wants to go into farming can take advantage of the research and the economic potentials of the crop.
For the last couple of weeks, we have focused on the Institute for Agricultural Research and its milestones in developing crop varieties and technologies that can change the face of agriculture in Nigeria. We have the brains, we have the brawn, we have the land, and as a nation, we can do great things in the world of agriculture. Many thanks to our sponsor, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, and the Institute for Agricultural Research that has made these technologies readily available for farmers to transform agriculture in Nigeria. At this juncture, we'll draw the curtain for this episode. Join us again, same time, same station, next week. You can also follow us on our social media platforms showing on your screen. Until I see you again, think agriculture for food security and economic development.